Okay, I'd like to call the select board meeting to order at 5 p.m. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For additions and deletions in the agenda, I was hoping to be able to move Trish up higher so she doesn't have to stay during all the ordinance conversation. So I was going to put her in as the first order of business. And instead of it being, she's going to be doing a presentation, correct, about the winter event, and we'll talk about any funds they might need. So I'm moving her up to the first item on business. Does anybody else have any addition? Oh, and then from the, I'd like to delete from the agenda approval of last week's minutes, just because I haven't had a chance to read them. And so we'll review them and we'll approve them at the next meeting. So I'm going to move that we approve the signing of the orders and payroll for December 10th, 2025. The gross is $15,477.45, and the net is $10,999.33. And those are just payroll orders. We don't have the regular in here.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Announcements?
Honestly, I think the roads have been looking pretty good with all the snow so far this year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I've been amazed.
yeah.
It's been very good. Anybody else, anybody having any issues with the snow? Any neighborhoods?
Enjoying it.
Exactly. I was thinking there was an announcement I wanted to make. Oh, we are looking for a new, excuse me, we're looking for a new animal control officer that we've been publicizing it. There's a stipend with that, there's mileage with that, and it's supported by the sheriff. So any interaction will be supported by the sheriff's office. So the job is mostly administrative, and we're hoping that someone will step up and help in the community. Okay, any public comment in the room or online? No? Okay, so Trish, we'd love to hear from you about your winter event you're having.
Great. So the Recreation Committee is planning a winter event that we're going to call Frost and Fire Winter Family Event. And we're requesting $1,200 to be spent out of our reserve fund, our committee's reserve fund, for expenses to cover the cost of activities. And I'll kind of go into the outline of what we're going to be doing that will have, that those costs are associated with. So some of our snow activity, we are counting on snow. The date is February 28th. It's a Saturday. We're planning for 2 to 5 p.m., so an afternoon event. And the activities that we're planning for are sledding, a scavenger hunt, a snowball target, a photo booth that's snowman related, and painting, like making miniature snowmen and painting with appropriate materials, and a bonfire. And we are requesting a permit for the bonfire.
Feel a little hippie.
Hoping to go through.
Right person.
The highlight, having a nice big bonfire in February, would be a lot of fun. We are gonna have refreshments with like hot cocoa, and part of the expenses are to purchase the food and cocoa, and we're gonna get some insulated dispensers that can be used for.
Yeah, we could use them if we have events in the summer and.
Yeah, they'll be appropriate for cold or hot beverages, so they'll be available, going forward. And we are gonna get just some like little saucers for the sledding hill, which Steve and Leighton are gonna build kind of a berm off the back of the basketball court, kind of build up that slope a little bit to make it a nice, they can sled right down into the open field. So we'll have some saucers that we'll get,
Stone depending.
and then, that'll be in the flyers that we'll be putting out, so people might bring their own slides as well. We are planning to do some gift bags for the kids. That would be one of the expenses, just some little, little kind of, party gift bags with some little, toy kind of items and a little snack. And then we're hoping to do a raffle, for the families. That will be, anybody that attends will get a raffle ticket, to participate in a raffle. And we're going to go to, local businesses in Mendon and ask if they want to help sponsor the event. And they could do that by donating a raffle prize, donating something that could go into the gift bags for the kids. They might do a monetary donation that will go towards the expenses of the event. And then we would, post, a banner or something from their company to, kind of highlight that they're helping to sponsor the event. So it's a way they can promote the local businesses in town.
How are you gonna figure out how many gift bags to make?
That's the $1 million question.
And there can be a lot of waste.
Yeah, so most of the items will be reusable for future events if we overestimate. Being the first event that we're doing, we have no idea what kind of response. We actually are gonna try to do an RSVP.
Well, the other thing you could do is say the first 20 kids that arrive get a gift bag, or, so to get people to get there and get incentivize them, but then you could even say the first 40.
Yeah.
But then we'd have, if someone showed up after, I don't know, that's what they do at the Red Sox and the yard goat.
Yeah, they just have a
Certain
finite
amount.
amount. Yeah. Because it really is hard to judge,
We have no idea.
Yeah.
Megan, do you mind if I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Hi. I just wanted to share that the Barstow PTO uses it's called Sign Up Genius, and you can create a QR code or they can go follow the link. So on your PR, you could have the link to the Sign Up Genius and you could have people sign up if they're planning to attend.
Okay, yeah, I've seen the sign up genius. That's one thought. Jesse also had suggested having like a Google account with like a Gmail that would be specifically for our committee that we could have on the advertising that we put out too. So either way, whatever's easiest and makes the most sense to use.
And then my only question is, did you look at the school calendar when you were creating the timeline of the event?
Yes, school calendar, and also when Rutland City does their winter event. So we're not, competing with that.
Sarah, do you find people do RSVP if you send the Sign Up Genius?
You get a better response than not having one. Yeah.
Okay.
At least it can give
They'll still want to be the last minute show ups, but
Yeah,
at
right.
least it gives you an idea, and then you can account for 10% more or 15% more.
Yeah. Good. The other thing we were questioning if we would need to rent a porta potty. If we're inviting people to come for a few hours, there's no restroom facilities, should we
Yeah.
budget for that as well? And I don't know what, has the town rented them that you'd have kind of an estimate on what that cost would be. I don't know what that.
Sarah, have we rented porta potties before for anything?
We have, and they were placed down at the ball field for a monthly basis, and I think the cost was about $150 per month, but then there'd be a drop off and a pickup fee. But I might encourage you to contact either Casellas or Hubbard's and see if they wouldn't donate one for the event.
Yeah. We could always ask Betsy and Jim to open up the bathrooms for us.
Immediately located.
Dairy court.
Boys in one, girls in the other.
Okay, so we'll look into that and see how we can get that set up. The other thing we'd like to have some volunteers to help out, because we are a small committee. Kind of having people, like somebody helping with refreshments, each activity, kind of having somebody kind of supervise and, kind of.
We'll put that on the front porch for them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Would teenagers be okay?
Sure,
Like, for
yeah.
example, some of I'm on the Boy Scouts or Scouting America board, not the local one, but the state one, but I could see if we could get the local troop to see if they want to do some community service in terms of helping.
That would be great,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Or,
And I can also reach out to the middle school at Barstow because they also do community service for graduation.
oh, right.
Okay. Okay, great.
No, that sounds great. I'm excited that you're doing this event.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we can kind of get it going, get some response and kind of build on it. So maybe it becomes a winter event and a summer event that we can just continue it.
Yeah, I think
Go
it's,
to the park and just, getting the community together. So some of the things, are advertising plans, is because it's right before town meeting, if we could send a message possibly with the notice that goes out for town meeting.
yeah, that'd be great.
Tag on to
Jesse's
that.
on your committee, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that was her idea. And then we thought, because Barstow, the sports teams use the field, we could advertise to the Barstow families, because they're familiar with the field.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
probably some of our
definitely.
biggest.
Don't you think,
attendees
Sarah, we
to
want
the
to
field.
promote it to both Barstow and Chittenden families through the school?
Yes,
Promote
they
it.
always invite us to their events, so absolutely.
Something through
Specifically
school
Chittenden
committee.
Day. Yeah, Mendon's always invited to Chittenden Day. So once you have a flyer made up, we can send that over to the school.
Okay, perfect. And then we're gonna use, the website, and if we could use the text alert system, send a text message, just kind of all these different hits as reminders. And when we go to visit, the local businesses, we're gonna ask them if they have a place they can post a flyer, in the public part of their building. So just getting word out.
I think it sounds great. It's the most exciting thing we've done in Mendon and since our big picnic we had a few years
So
ago.
just, so if this weather holds up and the snow continues, we'll have to have a backup plan if there isn't snow for some of our activities.
February 28th was good. And the nice thing too is it'll be lighter later by
Yes.
the end of February.
Yeah, we kind of wanted to go into the later afternoon for the bonfire. It's kind of fun at dusk.
Yeah, plus people can ski during the day in
Yeah.
town and
Yeah.
still go. Because a lot of the ski programs are still going at that time.
Yeah, it's supposed to be on Saturday.
Well, so on that note, are you interested in just the local families, or would letting the inns and the hotels and stuff for families who are there for the week or whatever know, like, hey, here's a good thing for you to.
Well, we only have one in, really.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking like, oh, then we would be Killington, yeah.
I don't think we need
Okay,
to reach out to them. I mean, I don't want to get it overwhelmed. It's a
Yeah.
community event.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we want to, keep it kind of
Keep it
local
local.
community. Yeah,
I agree.
it's a way to kind of bring our people
Chittenden and
together.
Mendon.
Yeah.
that's good.
No, I think, okay, so you're requesting $1,200 out of your fund?
Yes,
Okay.
to cover the expenses.
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve $1,200 out of the Recreation Committee Fund for the event for the winter. Let's say the name of it again?
Fire, Boston Fire.
Frost and Fire.
Frost and Fire event.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, sounds great.
All right.
Thank
Sounds
you.
like Jesse's gonna be able to help you with the promotion
Oh, yeah, definitely.
and,
Yeah.
the sign, however you guys decide to do the sign. Are you having another meeting?
Yes, yeah, we'll have another meeting, in January.
Yeah, just pull together the different thoughts on the signing up, but I do think if Sarah said they do sign up, people are trained to sign up better now than they used to be.
Yeah, especially if it's easy, if it's something that they're looking at electronically and just click.
Yeah. But I also, I hope we don't get overrun, I don't think we will, by people from other towns.
Yeah, it would be great for men and Chittenden, because, kids kind of know each other going to the same school. Families probably know each other as well, so.
All righty, well, thank you guys. Thank you, Steve.
Pretty moral support.
One of them members, well, all of them are good, but Leighton Bear is very energetic.
Yeah, on the committee,
Yeah,
Yeah, Karen,
and he lives right up there, right?
yeah, this was, yeah.
That's
Yeah, they
awesome.
just built a house on the line, south end.
Good.
Thanks, everyone.
awesome,
you.
thank you. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Oh, yeah.
Same to you, thank you.
Okay, well, that's exciting. It was so interesting. I was telling her about wacky winter games that used to happen in Killington. And she's like, oh, we should do something like that in Mendon, and took it to the committee, and it was wonderful. Good energy on that committee. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is talking about the ordinance, the zoning rewrite, public hearing, and consideration for adoption. So, Sarah, what we have here has the changes that the 1215 draft. It has all the changes from our last few meetings, right?
Correct.
The hearings and.
The present ones too?
So, the
Yeah.
hearings, we're going to approve this tonight.
No.
We're gonna move on the agenda. We are ready to move to approve this, correct?
Yeah, yes, you're ready to approve it because we've received public comment, and then what it's going to do is be included in the warning for vote at town meeting. But it has to be approved by the select board first.
We still have, yeah, it has to be approved because we have to have a, public hearing between 15 days and 120 days. Not less than 15 days. We've already made that because we got it a few weeks ago. But we have to have a public hearing before we have the vote. So once we approve that, that's what we will have our public hearing on at some point in early January or mid-January, or attaching it to one of our meetings or something like that.
So anybody that has any comments on this would bring them up at the
At a public hearing or in writing. And then what we do is we would look at it again after that and say, is there anything further? And if there isn't, that's what we warn for town meeting.
Okay,
And if there is, then we have to think carefully about the timing so that we can have another hearing and then get it done in time.
so we should look at early January, don't you think, Sarah?
Yes.
And I don't think it has to be a long hearing. Like, we had 3 hours set aside for a Saturday morning for the.
And then you met on a Monday privately.
Nobody.
Correct?
And we only had one person show up in person and one person on the
Correct.
phone. And adjourned an hour early. And so people have already sort of seen the draft. There's not a lot that's new or
Hold on, excuse me just a minute.
I'm talking to him. I can talk to
Mr.
you.
Yates, if you want to speak to him, you do it after the meeting. If you're going to be in the room, you need to be quiet. We're having a meeting. We're conducting a meeting.
Can I comment
You're
on
here-
can I comment on the plan? Why not?
You can't.
We're discussing it, why can't I comment on it?
There's going to be a public hearing for you to make your comments. We had it.
Well, there was a meeting, but nobody was allowed in on the 17th.
Okay.
Like the door was locked to having a private meeting, there was full planning
You have a
commission,
date?
people here, and no one was allowed.
Brian, if you raise your voice to me again, or speak when you're not asked, not called upon, I'm going to ask the sheriff to remove you from the meeting. So I'm going to move that we approve this draft of the zoning regulations to prepare to take in front of a hearing, a public hearing in January to get input from the public until, get input from the public before we take it to vote at the town meeting.
Yep.
Did you get that, Sarah?
And in terms of the date for the public hearing, so I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And in terms of the date, I think our regular meeting is 2nd and 4th, right, of January?
Yeah.
So it's like the 14th and 28th. If we were to have a special meeting just to try to get it earlier in January, I don't think we would need to warn more than like 45-minute meeting, an hour.
What if we just combine it with one of our select?
Well,
meetings?
that's the other option would be just to say, like, if we have a select board meeting and we start at 5:30, then maybe we start at 5 or we start at 6. I think that's fine too.
Yeah, I think we should just have it because then the sheriff doesn't need to be here on a
Yeah.
different day.
Yeah.
we'll all be here. Let's look at,
Should make it so people
Let's
can
look at-
attend after 5 o'clock.
let's look at scheduling it at, on our first select board meeting
That would be January 12th.
and have it be after, we could have our meeting at 5:30 and have the hearing at 6:30.
January 12th, right?
Yeah.
That works.
Okay, so the, we have 3 ordinances here to talk about. The floodplain regulation ordinance, we have decided to leave that in the zoning regs. So we do not have a
Don't have to do anything
floodplain
on that. Yep.
ordinance. The sign ordinance, which I did have a chance to read with all the updates when I came in. Sarah, do you have anything you want to say about it? About why we're
Me?
doing the ordinance?
Yeah, so at our last meeting, you asked Sarah and I to do a little research, and we found that there are 2 things we should think about if you're gonna pull something out and make it an ordinance. One is, can you legally? And then 2, should you? We did find out that we can't just put a placeholder in there, like language that would say, if we wanna change this later, whatever the select board does will supersede it. So what we recommended is, since last week we decided the only change with floodplain is what Logan came and recommended, some of the language shifts. And so there doesn't look like there's any foreseeable need to potentially change it. The sign ordinance, I think there was some potential interest in somebody revisiting some aspects of it. And so what you have before you is basically the same language that was in zoning that's now going to be in an ordinance.
Okay.
Yep.
Over here.
With one exception, and I'll tell you about that in a second. And then if we wanted to pick it up months from now, a year from now, we don't have to go through that whole 2 hearings, planning commission, then select board process. So it just is a standalone ordinance, still enforced by, we would say that the zoning administrator is our enforcement officer, so it's the same thing. The difference in there is some tweaking around non-conforming uses, because that doesn't exist in ordinance. And there was some language around registering temporary signs. And so, because there's a question about whether that was we can really do that, like someone's political sign, we just pulled it out. We can always put that back in, but if we pass it and then want to go through some scrutiny, some legal scrutiny, or just pick it up, we can put it back in.
Right.
But I just took it out for now because there's some question.
What is the, I remember as a candidate having my signs out, and I always had to have my signs pulled in like 24 hours after the election or something. Is that a state law or?
That's not it's not actually a state law, but there is, the way the Department of Transportation enforces it. They go through with their own sort of oversight, and they begin to pull then, because the event is over. So here, there are provisions around temporary signs with yard sales and farmers markets and things like that, where you can, in state law, signs, have things up for, I think it's either 30 days or 6 weeks, but you can have them up. But even if that time period is over, you've got to pull them back in.
Yeah, I mean, I find, because people are always putting them in front of our neighborhood, I should say, so I find people come and pick them up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we have a big issue in town, but I think, where we may see issues is like all these signs these multi-business
Yes.
signs that have gone in Mendon. And
Yep.
that could continue, and I think it is good to have some kind of control over.
And there still is some temporary restraint on businesses with local signs, so I just kind of took out just this one section that had to do with the registering of the local ones. But the businesses still have to go through a process, so that, even if it's not a perfect process, again, maybe we want to make it stronger, maybe we don't want it at all, but now we can pick it up and do it. I just wouldn't want the public to think that voting for this means that we think this is perfect.
Yeah.
I don't think it is, but it's at least the status quo.
It's what we've been doing.
Yeah, it's what we've been doing.
No.
Yeah, and then, it will be easier if something comes up, somebody
Yeah.
wants to put a sign up that, we might have to adjust the ordinance.
Yep, and then we can,
I'm just trying to think of, there's not very many signs in our town.
no, there aren't, yeah. I mean, someday maybe there will be more.
Okay, so, I would like to make a motion that we approve this sign ordinance for, outdoor advertising sign ordinance as a town ordinance.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
You've been busy. So, really, the zoning administrator was doing all this before. It's not anything new on
Not anything new.
that
Right.
job. Okay, we've got the signatures here. I'll hold that until after the meeting. Okay, the next ordinance to consider is the short-term rental ordinance. It's interesting, I read through this very thoroughly, and, we have an ordinance, I have an Airbnb in Colchester.
Yeah.
So we have an ordinance up there, and, but then we also have our, HOA.
Oh,
Which-
yeah. And some people maybe undergoes here too. Do we have, there might be
Yes.
at least one, right? Yeah,
Well, we have HOA in our neighborhood, but it's,
Yeah.
the covenant is you can't. do
yeah, I was gonna say the covenant.
short-term rentals.
That's, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
but I mean, I feel like this is gonna be, good for the town. I know Trish, as health officer, Trish gets called sometimes about Airbnbs, but I love the thoroughness of this and making sure the safety, because the fire warden, the state fire officials, that is a very small staff. And they only really get called unless something has happened versus before,
Yeah.
especially these places that sleep 8 or more, I really like, more than 8.
Yeah.
I really like that piece of it.
And they won't inspect if you're, like, the state folks are like not interested in anything that's on the smaller side.
Yeah.
But that's why we found when we were doing our research for the planning commission with this, that there was this middle tier where they, you can have them come in. And they've got some good tools and resources online that have been developed, so you kind of know what you have to do and.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, every month, every May, I sign mine and post it in my house and,
Yeah,
but I'm wondering, the only thing I was wondering about was the parking. And it says all vehicles associated with short-term rental have off-street designated parking.
okay,
So my only question about that is, say, somebody comes over for dinner, somebody's running an Airbnb and somebody wants to come to dinner. I don't really know how many streets we have road parking in
Yeah.
town. But I mean, I know I had a party the other night and I had like 10 cars
on the
out
road.
on the road.
What if we amended it now to say unless they get approval from the STRO?
Yeah, because then they know if they know they were having people over too.
Yeah. So if we put in E, parking,
Yeah,
put comma, and say unless approved by the STRO, which is the short-term rental officer. That way, if they're like, maybe someone says, yeah, I don't really have any parking that's safe, like I have too small of a yard or whatever it is, and the STRO is like, you know what? You're the only person that lives on that road, it's fine, then they can approve,
and
or
that's gonna
in
be
case
true
of a party.
at the
Yeah.
time they apply, not at the time they,
Right, but if they called, if part of the application package said, should you ever need you know, like a variance of parking, call us and this provision will allow me to temporarily
So would
approve
that,
For like a dinner.
yeah, but I mean, would that?
So do other residents have to do that as well?
Would that be a call to, would that be a call to, would that be Greg?
Yep,
So they would just call his
yep,
phone and say,
yep,
we're gonna be having street parking?
Yep.
Okay.
for
I just
them.
think it-
That would be for short-term.
Only, not for other residents?
Short-term rental.
Short-term rentals.
So if I have a party and there's 50 cars out on the road, I have to call even though I don't have a short-term rental? That's what I'm asking.
No.
No.
Only if you have a short-term rental can you not park on the road. But if you don't have a short-term rental, you can have people park on the road?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Brian, this is an ordinance for short-term rentals, we're not talking about.
What if the short-term rental people meet people on the mountain that day and they come over for a party in the afternoon?
Brian,
Do they have to have permission to park on the road?
Brian?
I'm just asking. It's a simple question.
The person-
Well, because you're talking about it, I'm just asking. Other resident,
We're answering.
so a resident can have 50 people parking on the road if they want, but short-term rentals cannot.
Yes.
Right. Right, we're trying to control the short-term rental noise and activity in our town.
That's it.
We don't even know who has there's short-term rentals out there now that you haven't watched for years.
New ones that come, it'll work into that, right?
We have.
Almost like other things that are going on in town that nobody wants to
Okay,
look
so,
at. I'm waiting for
no,
public.
I need, you missed public comments, Brian,
No, sorry, I haven't got there yet.
we started at 5 o'clock, Brian, public comments were,
Or we missed it.
you missed it.
Can I have public comment?
No, we're done.
I would like to react to the short-term rental ordinance you're talking about.
Can I talk with you then outside?
No, we need him in here.
So can I ask a question about the short-term rental versus resident?
If you ask respectfully,
I have not done anything to you, Megan. I am asking a question respectfully. So
Okay.
I remember about 10 years back, Ann Clark had like a fundraiser to go to Washington, D.C. She had many people parking on the road. She had to have a special permit. She had to have valet parkers to check on all the cars out in the road, make sure nobody's blocking the road. This is a resident. It should be the same for residents as it is for short-term rentals. There's no parking allowed on the road legally in the town of Mendon. So anybody would need a special permit to do that.
Okay, this is we are just talking about the short-term rental policy right now, that's what we're adopting. So I appreciate your feedback, and we'll look at other ordinances in the town about parking on the street. But what we're talking about now is for regulating short-term rentals.
All I'm saying is that you're not regulating how many people are parking on their property, correct? Just what's on the road, correct?
Yes,
But there's no off-street parking in Mendon, period. So why are we making an ordinance to change it?
Brian, your input has been taken, and we're done.
I don't
with
get
your input, okay? So, that was the only thing, and the noise. So when we say
I don't have a noise.
10:30 PM and 6:30 AM quiet hours, I know some neighborhoods have those again in their HOAs. Is that something that
6 to 10.
is,
The Mendon, I'm
That's
double
the-
checking
10
that.
o'clock is our,
Sarah, is that,
6 a.m.,
is the Mendon,
yeah, is our normal.
6 a.m. to 10 a.m., to 10 p.m.
do you know what our ordinance is, Sarah, for noise?
6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Excuse me, Brian, could you please be quiet?
Does not anybody know the regulations? You're sitting up here. It doesn't make any sense to me. You people are making the rules, but you don't know the rules. And once the rules are in place, you don't care about it.
Megan,
10:30 to 6.
it's 10:30 PM to 6 AM.
Okay.
Okay, good.
So it's consistent for ordinance.
Perfect.
Yep. And actually, on that parking thing, what's nice about that amendment that we made is that the parking exchange says, like, in your case, it's a shared public driveway or private road, so that's not within the town's purview. So in this instance, this would be something that, you know, even if we weren't allowed, they may say, I'm sorry, you can't park on a public road because it's not allowed, then that's the answer. But if it's because of the ordinance, they also can't park on a private road, then, you know, the STRO could say, all right, have you notified all the neighbors? Then if so, then yes, you can.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I know, I can notify my neighbors that I was having a party and,
Most locals do, based on that. This is short-term
makes
rentals.
very.
so that was the only thing that jumped out at me. And as I reviewed this, I think it's, you know, the revenue from this is there's definitely gonna be some increased zoning work. And so the revenue from this can help cover that. But once we see, Sarah, do we need to have a fund designated for this money to come into? Or
No,
now?
so there'll be a code that they'll create for the accounting software, but it just comes into the general fund.
Okay,
If you wanted to, we don't have a zoning reserve fund. So if you wanted to create a reserve fund for zoning, or if you wanted to put some of these fees into Mendon Economic Development, then you would put that, you would just put that as a question to the voters for town meeting to
okay,
create another reserve fund.
yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I think we determined when we were doing the budget, we already determined that we would have more money in zoning because this is gonna come up. That we didn't reduce zoning based on what we did this year, because he's gonna have more to do next year with all of this. So we kept that in payroll and Milo, so I think it'll be fine to just leave it the way it is and then put it in the general fund. I think the voters would appreciate it going into the general fund.
Right. Yeah. It'll be an additional revenue in the general fund.
Yeah, I think we should do that. That would be my recommendation.
And if there's a reason why zoning has to increase to manage the short-term rental, those two expenses and revenue would offset each other. Yeah.
Yeah, if he ever needed administrative support or anything, because of this, which it seems like we'll be able to manage it all within the office. I mean, it'll be a big flurry of activity at the beginning,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Then year after year, it will be easier to maintain after that. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to move that we adopt the Town of Mendon ordinance regulating short-term rentals.
As amended?
I'll second
As
that.
amended.
As amended. I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Sarah, I just updated it on my draft here and I'll email it to you. And then we can, even though we approved it, we can just sign it like next time. Do we need to sign it? Can we sign, like mark
No.
up that one and sign it?
Yeah, I'm not worried about the signatures. We can sign that afterwards. It's really the motion that you're putting in place, and then I'm going to post it as required by the statute, physically in town, and an advertisement in the newspaper. So we have 3 different ordinances that we're going to publish in the newspaper this week: the animal, the dog, and wolf hybrid ordinance, the short-term rental ordinance, and the
Sign ordinance.
in the sign regulations.
We already did the dog and wolf hybrids, right?
Yeah, you adopted it at the last meeting. It needs to be put, concise summary needs to be put in the paper within 15 days.
Okay, it is here in my pile of stuff to be signed, so.
Correct.
Oh, Sarah, will you update? I'm glad we didn't pass the minutes because I think we have to put for the meeting that you passed the ordinance, you have to put it in the meeting minutes. So when we approve last week's meeting minutes, if you just want to update it to have the dog ordinance in it, then we can check that box too.
So it was in the minutes, right?
Maybe I thought I skimmed the minutes. The text of the ordinance, the dog and wolf hybrid?
we did the animal control ordinance readoption.
Yes. So the posting of it, I'll double check in the statute, but I think we have to put the text of it in the meeting. You have to attach it to the meeting minutes as well.
Okay, so we can just add that as an attachment one.
Exactly. Yep. Totally, like just as the attachment or something, like the attachment.
Okay, well, thank you again, Sarah, for all you did in that.
Weird.
So the local option tax discussion. Sarah Tully and I talked about it some today, and we were talking about, there are going to be 2 or 3 businesses that are, 3 or 4 businesses that are affected by this now. And so we want to make the revenue come in, at least some of it, to do economic development. And go, I would go to all the businesses in town and say, we're gonna put this to the voters, the 1%, that we're gonna use it for economic development money to market our businesses, to set up a fund so that if someone wants to come in and take one of our blighted properties, we can give them a grant for their engineering report, or to encourage development, and so that people don't have all that outlay. And we'd have to set up a grant system that we base it. And so I think if we also would like, I think we also, to benefit our current businesses, we would need to do something for them as well. And I think, marketing within the town, getting people in town to use our local businesses and make them aware, and, the 2 ends that we have left, make sure they're promoting the local businesses and incentivize them to do that somehow. So I think, certainly it's going to be up to the voters whether they want to add this or not, but it makes so much sense since Rutland Town has it, Rutland and Killington. It's like, here we are, and I don't think we're going to raise a ton of money, but I think whatever we raise, and we decided to put rooms, sales tax, rooms, and meals, correct?
Yeah, do you want, is your thinking, and I could go both ways on this, is your thinking that we would warn each and see if the voters all want sales tax, all want the beverages, all want, or do you want to say, all of them in one article, and then they pass or fail as a group, or do you want people to pick and choose?
What do you think, Sarah?
I think it gives the most leeway to the voters if you warned 3 separate articles.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because the other 3 towns that surround us that have the local option tax, they're all over the board too with which ones they have. So it is beneficial to put out a plan there. If you recall, I also recommended that you do a split between the general fund, offsetting taxes, and then reserving some of the funds to go into the Mendon Economic Development Fund, where you could create programs to promote Mendon.
And would we be able to explain that at this town meeting before the vote?
Yes, you'll be able to do a presentation. I'm sorry?
At the meeting itself, or should we promote any education before the town meeting?
Well, you can indicate it in the highlights and objectives report for the town report, or any type of explanation of your budget that we do anticipate if these articles pass, that we anticipate revenue coming into the general fund and to the Mendon Economic Reserve Fund. So yes, I would be preparing a blurb that can be included in the town report to explain the goals of why you're asking the town to, approve or deny it. It's up to the voters on whether they want to implement the local option tax.
So I think dividing it up into 3 different options. And so do we need to make a motion on that tonight, or we just have
You
it
do
for
not
the
need to
town.
make a motion on that tonight. Those are just marching orders that as we prepare the agenda for signature, your approval of the agenda will be at the end of January. So we'll just prepare that in 3 different orders, and then we'll start creating the PR piece that goes with it, because that'll be included in the town report.
I found it very interesting when you were talking about it last week about the fact, and I caught myself, you know, the little Christmas shopping this past week. The same thing, when I go to buy something, if I don't if it changes it to Rutland,
Yeah.
now I'm more attentive to go down and be like, it's 05701, but it's Mendon.
Yeah.
And I never knew about that. And I'm wondering if once we pass this, we ask the tax department to do an audit to see how much of our money has gone to Rutland if we can get it
Like,
back.
yeah, well, Jim Pearson was doing that.
Oh, really?
And then he left, so. Yeah, maybe I'll I was gonna, ask Rutland Town how they went about getting
Yeah,
their share.
Yep.
And then see, you know, where's our money going?
yeah,
Yeah, I just call the State Department of Taxes for that.
yeah.
I'll do that.
So I just wanted to highlight that Logan from the Rutland Regional Planning Commission did jump online. Do we have any questions for him regarding the changes in the zoning that he prepared?
I think we're good. I think last
we're good.
week he gave us lots of things to think about, and we made those adjustments, so I think you might be off the hook tonight, Logan.
So
Okay.
Logan, we had decided that we still have one more public hearing to do in January. We're going to do that on January 12th in order to warn the vote for town meeting, but that the select board rubber stamped the current version of the zoning with the short-term rentals as a standalone policy ordinance and the signs as a standalone ordinance, but leaving the floodplain in the zoning regulations.
And I updated the report, Logan, just to reflect your changes. Well, you had already given the report, but then I put the little blurb about the sign ordinance being pulled out. With the report that has to go with it, does that just get submitted to the town clerk, or does that also get posted?
Yeah, you'd want to file it with the town clerk, and you know, wherever you really ultimately have that report, whether it's online or, you know, you'll want to just replace it.
Okay.
Or you could add it to the list, but yeah, just so that it's also there, so folks know that that's the most up to date. And I just wanted to clarify, you're talking about in the current Mendon zoning, you know, Article 7 is sign regulations. It's titled Sign Regulations Outdoor Advertising. That's what you're referring to? Yep. Okay.
Yes.
So I'll need to get you a draft that reflects that removed.
Already done.
Oh, you already have it. Perfect.
Yep. All I did is just put it as reserved.
Yep.
I just deleted it and deleted reserved.
Okay.
And the one other instance where in non-conforming uses that dealt with signs, I just struck that section. I'll forward it to you so you can give it a look over.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Do it quickly because it was last week.
No.
Sarah, we're not signing the short-term rentals now because there's gonna be that one change, correct?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. You moved to approve it, so that's fine. And we'll sign it at the next meeting.
Okay, well, if that is all, we're gonna talk, the one last thing is the designation for the Regional Emergency Management Committee designation form, which I have here and I've signed for Leamy and Val for the meeting this week. Is the vote this week, Sarah?
Yeah, they have a meeting this week. They were appointed on that committee back in March. So they've already been appointed. This is just the form for the Regional Planning Commission.
Okay. And then as we'll be revisiting all of our emergency management and public safety in the next month. I'd like to, once we get through all this other stuff, this first town meeting. So if that's all we have, I will move to adjourn the meeting at 5:50 p.m.
Well, second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.